Ever watched a rugby match and thought, man, this is intense? Or maybe you've seen the controlled chaos of American football? Well, what if I told you that both of these modern sports have a wild, untamed ancestor from medieval France that makes them look like a friendly game of catch? This is the story of Soule, a game so brutal, so chaotic, it was less of a sport and more of a village-wide battle. Forget manicured fields and referees and neat uniforms. Picture this, the entire population of two neighboring villages, sometimes hundreds or even thousands of people, pouring into the streets, fields, and forests. Their goal? To get a leather ball, often filled with hay or moss, to a specific landmark. This landmark could be anything: a fountain in the town square, the door of the other village's church, or even a specific tree miles away. The field was the entire countryside, stretching for kilometers. So what were the rules? Well, that's the thing. There were barely any. You could run with the ball, kick it, throw it, you could tackle, wrestle, and fight for it. Some accounts even mention players using sticks or clubs. It was a free-fall, a brutal test of strength, stamina, and strategy. The game could last for hours, sometimes even days, only ending when one team finally managed to deliver the ball to their goal. The ball itself, called the Soule, was a prize. It was usually made of pig or cow leather, sometimes even a pig's bladder, stuffed and stitched together. The size varied from a small handball to something as big as a modern-day medicine ball. Getting your hands on this thing was the first challenge. Keeping it was the real battle. Soule was deeply woven into the fabric of French rural life, especially in regions like Normandy and Brittany. It wasn't just a game, it was a ritual, a tradition. Matches were often held on holidays, like Mardi Gras or Easter, or to celebrate a wedding. A newlywed groom might even be expected to sponsor a game, providing the Soule and a feast for the players afterward. It was a way for communities to settle rivalries, prove their strength, and let off steam. It was a rite of passage for young men, a spectacle for the entire community. Imagine the scene. A muddy, sprawling brawl moving across the landscape. Men grappling in streams, climbing over stone walls, and charging through dense woods. The Soule would disappear into a heaving mass of bodies, a scrum of epic proportions, only to be launched out and chased down again. It was a chaotic, often violent display of communal pride. Naturally, a game this rough had its dangers. Broken bones, serious injuries, and even fatalities were not uncommon. Players could get trampled, injured in the mass of bodies, or even drown while fighting for the ball in a river. This led to numerous attempts by both the church and the state to ban Soule over the centuries. As early as the 14th century, kings and bishops issued decrees forbidding the game, calling it evil, damnable, and a source of enmities and homicides. But these bans were almost impossible to enforce. Soule was too popular, too deeply ingrained in the culture. The people simply ignored the authorities and continued to play. So, how does this medieval free-for-all connect to the sports we know today? Well, many sports historians see Soule as a direct ancestor of modern football codes. When similar folk football games from Britain were standardized in the 19th century, they evolved into two distinct sports: association football, or soccer, which focused on kicking, and rugby football, which allowed players to carry the ball and tackle. The spirit of Soule, the running, the tackling, the raw physicality, is clearly visible in modern rugby. You can see its echo in the mauls and scrums, in the sheer determination to carry a ball across a line against fierce opposition. As society changed, so did Soule. The rise of organized sports with standardized rules, the move from rural to urban life, and the general desire for less violent pastimes led to its decline. By the 19th and early 20th centuries, the game had all but vanished. The grand village-wide brawls were replaced by the more structured games of rugby and soccer played on defined pitches. However, the untamed legacy of Soule hasn't been completely forgotten. In some small pockets of France, particularly in Normandy and Brittany, enthusiasts have revived the tradition. These modern versions are, of course, much safer. They have more rules, designated playing areas, and a focus on sportsmanship over outright brawling. But they keep the core spirit of the ancient game alive, a physical, team-based struggle to move a ball towards a goal. It's a fascinating look at how our modern, highly regulated sports evolved from something so raw and primal. Soule was more than just a game. It was a social event, a pressure valve for an entire community, and a testament to human grit and a fierce competitive spirit. It was a battle, a festival, and a ritual, all rolled into one. So the next time you're watching a game of rugby, and you see that incredible tackle or that powerful drive for the try line, take a moment to remember its wild ancestor. Remember the thousands of French villagers charging across fields and forests, fighting for local pride in the brutal, chaotic, and truly epic game of Soule. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this slice of history as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and consider subscribing for more deep dives into the surprising stories behind our world. Let me know in the comments what other forgotten histories you'd like to see covered. See you in the next one.